What's up, dude?
Let's
I'm
go.
ready. Are you
ready? I'm ready to go, man. It's Mardi Gras week. We're gonna party this week.
I gotta say, I feel like the tradition of Mardi Gras has become its own thing and has just absolutely nothing to do with Lent, which is its origin. I don't think the majority of people who travel to New Orleans to celebrate Mardi Gras are like,
hey, let's celebrate and party because we're about to take on a time of sacrifice and letting go and fasting in order for a higher spiritual purpose. It's not exactly what.
That's not the vibe. That's not the dominant vibe that I experienced from Mardi Gras. But what a beautiful idea! What a beautiful holiday!
And it lends itself to a fun movie we're discussing this week, which is Princess and the Frog. We're in the middle of our Princess Month, going through February here, and we're coming up against Mardi Gras. So, what better movie to unpack and discuss today?
Yeah, and interestingly, to contrast with our previous week's film, which was Snow White. Snow White was the first animated feature film that Disney did.
Yep.
And then The Princess and the Frog was the last 2D animated film.
Yeah.
Although I have heard rumors that they're talking about doing it again, especially because they can use AI to do some of the in-betweening and stuff. However you feel about that, that's not what this podcast is about. I have thoughts. That's a different episode. But anyway, that was the first one. This is the last one. In case you didn't know, this was the last two-dimensional 2D animated film.
Yeah, and I'm excited for this discussion. How do you like this movie, Prince and the Frog?
I'm biased because I really love this one. And I have always loved it since, I'm pretty sure it came out when I was at CalArts, and it was a big deal because it was the last 2D animated one.
When it came out, was it billed as like we're going the route of Toy Story and the digital stuff from here on? Like this is, was it a swan song kind of moment?
Yeah, it was apparent. Like everyone knew it was not a hidden fact about the film, and so a lot of people were going, "Hey, we got to go see this so that we can." Mark this in history, and it deserves a theater showing. And then on its own merits, like it's just awesome. Like it's a great movie, and we'll go into all the reasons why.
Yeah.
So The Princess and the Frog is the original tale. Is The Princess and the Frog? It's a Grimm. I think it's Grimm.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And in the original story, the princess does not become a frog. There is a prince. He is cursed. We don't know this. We don't know why the prince is cursed. He just shows up. And the princess is this like pampered, ungrateful, impatient, entitled. She's just like a pretty miserable human, but she's a princess. And so she has this sort of inherent quality and value to her. And then she loses a golden ball into a thing, and the prince says, well, the frog says, I'll get it, but you have to you have to take me home with you. And so throughout the process of this morality tale, and she reneges on her promises, and then finally she throws the prince against the wall. It isn't actually a kiss in the original one. She violently tries to murder this frog, and then poof, a prince comes out, and she kind of learns her lesson, and is and so out of her whatever, her repentance.
True Grimm fairy tale fashion.
Yeah, and so the original fairy tale, it's one of those cases where and this does happen, where the original fairy tale is it's fine, it's memorable because it is a good lesson to
I think we've talked through how just stories in the zeitgeist of things change over time, right? And the original one, the way I always think of Princess and the Frog is there's a princess, she's got to kiss a frog, and the frog becomes a prince, right? Mm-hmm. And that is all I know of that story. Right. All that sticks in my mind.
Yeah. And so it has don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
Follow through on your promises.
That's the message. Don't judge a book by its cover. Follow through on your promises. Those are the two things that kind of fit in just this very kind of narrow idea I have. And I'd say most people I know, if you bring up Prince and the Frog, the original fairy tale, they're she's got to kiss a frog. She's grossed out by it, but then it turns out don't judge a book by its cover, right? So that's the thing. I think culturally we've internalized, and all the other details kind of fall away.
And it's a great lesson, and it's kind of all you need. It's like a boy who cried wolf. It's I really, I get it. It's important that I have heard that story so I can register this moral lesson. But that was something I wanted to mention, is like the difference between a fable and a story. Like a fable just is an event, and then like a lesson to be learned from the event. But it doesn't have a plot. It doesn't have a character arc.
It's not a 3-act story,
there's no
that
structure to it necessarily. There's not a beginning, middle, and end. There's not a turning point. And so the princess and the frog is a fable more than anything. And then what Disney did, and I was looking into it, I think they had heavily relied on a book from 2002 called The Frog Princess by E.D. Baker. Now, I have not read this book. I'm not familiar with it, but apparently this one is where they kind of got the idea of like
she turns into a
frog because she wasn't a princess, and so and so now we sort of get the foundations for this story, this movie.
One of the things I really dig about Princess and the Frog is the way they did the characters. The characters are so, like, every character is flawed. I think of the thing you said in like Screenwriting 101, who is your character and what is their flaw? And every character in this has their flaw baked into their personality. And it just makes the character so rich. There's so much room for them to grow and learn. And every single like character in this has something of an arc, to a journey to go on with it. And it's cool to see it lay out in a way that's certainly not preachy.
Yeah, and it's even captured in the song, when I'm human and I'm gonna be, is all of these creatures they're all like aspiring towards some kind of form of wholeness or ambition or aspiration. There's some transformation that they're undergoing. I would say, other than there's one character that isn't, and well, I mean, I guess he does kind of transform, is Raymond, but
Firefly,
but they're all in the process of becoming. So one of the things I love about this movie is it sets up, we talked about how RoboCop has a fairy tale structure.
Sure. Yeah.
And this is also fairy tale structure, even though they've anachronized it. They've put it in like the 20s.
New Orleans.
In New Orleans. Yeah. It's a magical kingdom. It has a king. It has a princess. It has like royalty. It has peasants, like an underclass. It has like this dynamic between them. Tiana is like basically the equivalent of like a woodcutter's wife, or like she is that character in a fairy tale that's like you're just normal. You're not one of the you're not one of the
elites. You're one of the peasants.
And then there's an evil wizard, and so it's got the whole magical kingdom set up, and like we don't really care about the world, we just care about this kingdom, and this kingdom is New Orleans. And then what I also love is that they did not make this about like the pre-civil rights era. It doesn't those elements are in there.
It's part of the setting, but it's
especially
not,
interestingly, they use Lewis's character, I think, to make comment on that without it interfering with the human story overtly. Look, that's a super interesting story, but that's not this story. And what I love about their choice to do that is every fairy tale was crafted in a time where there was no such thing as, it was just oppression, it was subjugation, it was, and not even like a value-lated subjugation, just like you were a subject to a king. Everyone on earth was like, and so to just sort of go like, hey, it's a fairy tale, guys, like let's just do that. And so anyway, so
I think it shows how, like, when we did our Coco episode with Brett Bowles, and he talked about specificity and how like the universal themes of that fairy tale structure are set in the specific time and place of 1920 New Orleans, and from that the story unfolds, and these characters and their virtues and their flaws and all of that just have room to kind of play and explore.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like it's told with a heavily anachronistic lens looking back. So the characters that are in the 20s are not thinking about what life will be like in 1998 when this comes out, or with 2000, whenever. They're concerned with their circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, I heard a thing where like there's a problem now with so many of the movies that come out. Like whenever you're going to tell like a historical fiction story, or like, this fairy tale set in like 90s, but we have to put 2016 or 2026 morality in the characters in there, and it just doesn't. It feels totally preachy and doesn't work. And there's got to be one character who has this modern sensibilities around them, and I think it always comes out cringy and just off.
And it's like nobody did. Nobody had it.
It's not. You're no longer in 1920s New Orleans when you do that.
It breaks the verisimilitude completely. And you know, again, not to wander down this tangent too far, but it was made me think of I think C.S. Lewis talks about how every like generation or every kind of maybe era or epoch has like a sort of a dominant virtue that it values above others. And so it's not that it says other virtues are worthless, it just has one that sort of has primacy. And so a long time ago, in one era, it might have been valor. And that's the virtue. Kindness and charity and meekness.
And you get all the things that come with that. Because I think of like valor, and you had brutal, violent, all the things that come with that, right?
You had, you know, all kinds of things attached, you know, and then there's other ones where, you know, the virtue was chastity, and it was like, and society responds, and it holds this one thing up above all, and it makes it kind of ill. It makes society, which is funny because that's how this is going to play into our characters as well. It's that idea that like a strength overplayed becomes a weakness. When you emphasize one virtue over every other virtue, then the others atrophy, and you get something that's broken. And so potentially our virtue is compassion. You know, maybe. And we honor compassion so much that we've lost out on justice, on valor, on courage, on endurance, on, you know, all these other and they all have value too. And so
you get the rough edges of compassion and all that comes with that as well. Like none of these virtues are without their pitfalls.
And so these characters likewise they're personified strengths that are overplayed. And so
yeah. So with that, like, let's dive in. So Tiana is this. She's the David Goggins of her day. She's ambitious, grind at all costs. We're gonna get this done. I will work however many hours, no days off. Like that is her character's mentality, and it's very admirable. And also, like, inherent to that is her flaw. And then they pair her up with this silver spoon in his mouth royal who just likes to party and hasn't worked a day in his life.
But he comes with joy, and fun, and music, and dancing, right? So there's like, and those are good things, but then he's overplayed. It's too much.
There's a line that he has when he's a frog, and she's teaching him to cook, and he's like, I realize I don't really have any skills. I don't really know how to do anything. And it's kind of like an enduring moment because you're like, oh yeah, you are kind of useless. But then I step back and think about it. It's like, well, all the things you just said, like he brings knowing how to throw a party and how to bring other people in and wrap your arms around, like bring a community together around joy and like festivities that's a value. That's a skill and an inherent quality that he has in him, learning how to do that, but also realizing like it can't just be kicking your feet up all the time, like, which makes sense for that character.
Yeah. And so he, you know, this also makes me think, if we already recorded it, it'll come out later, but the idea, the relationship between Wally and Eva is similar. Is like, she's all about directive and get stuff done. And he's like, we're going to get stuff done, but like, I'm kind of silly.
Curious. And let's
And so it's a similar dynamic here. And so interestingly, so when I don't want to skip ahead too much just yet, because like the inciting incident in this movie is done really in a really cool way. And I think it happens when Tiana, at the beginning, when we don't know we're in a flashback, but that when she wishes on a star, because as a child, she thinks that's an okay thing to do. And then immediately, as she's like holding her dream of, you know, this picture that she doesn't really know what it is. It's actually her father's dream, and she's stewarding it.
Yeah.
And she makes this wish on a star, and then there's immediately a frog. Like present. And it's just a normal mortal, you know, it's a mundane frog. And she, you know, immediately recoils, right? And so there's this idea that like, in order to aspire to the dream of your father, it's going to require encountering a frog, and a frog, it had like frogs have this association with little boys. Like for some reason they catch frogs. I don't know why, but like there's this cultural kind of association. And they also frogs are symbols of change.
Yeah,
and so
because they're amphibious.
It's not a coincidence that they made it a frog.
Yeah,
in this fairy tale in the first place, and then especially in this version.
Right.
And so we get this sense immediately, just like in Jaws when he encounters the ocean, it's like this inciting incident. It's like before the movie's over, we are going to resolve stars, your father's dream, and whatever this relationship with this frog is. Like it's really amazing inciting incident that they crafted.
No, that's super cool. I hadn't thought about that. And even to kind of like, double click on the thing you said, frogs and the symbol of change. That's an ancient symbol that goes back to like ancient Egypt. And a frog was to show up in a thing. That's a harbinger of like things are about to turn. The time is about to shift. The plagues of Egypt, like frogs being unleashed, like that would have meant something to the original people that are reading that, hearing what frogs mean. Like that's an ancient thing that is to just have that as a symbol that's in there as she's also looking up to the sky, pondering aspirationally, like what's the dream that I want? How do I get there? Looking outside herself for that, and then encountering the symbol of change. Like what's the thing I want? Hey, you're going to have to change in order to get that. All that message is kind of packed in that one little image.
Yeah. And now this star is a person, and we're going to meet her later, but what we don't know now is that this particular star has a name and it has a quality, and we're going to meet it later. But this amazing inciting incident. And then when we kind of jump forward to the, when they cross the threshold, she meets Naveen, he's a frog, and like the voice performances and the humor, like the writing and the performances and the animated acting, like the visual acting is so stupid good. Like it's so funny. It's so well done and so nuanced. Yeah. So it's like every character has got like killer comedic moments.
It's interesting thinking about it. Like this is the last hand-drawn animated movie. And like we talked about Snow White last week being the first one. And you go back, obviously, like there's some beautiful elements of it. It's clearly the first one. They're starting this craft and this idea, and the things they could do were amazing. But you fast forward to Princess and the Frog, man, you really perfected like what they could do. And obviously there's new technology and all that's involved as well. But just the magic and the lights and the way that like the personality of the characters can just shine and all that. It's almost like you could think of it as like by Princess and the Frog, they had perfected the craft of what hand-drawn animation could be.
Yeah, pretty well, particularly for their mode of storytelling. Like I think of like Akira, which if y'all haven't seen that, then like go and just absolutely amaze yourself, because that whole film is done by hand. So there are some remarkable achievements out there, but for the genre that is the Disney animated feature, like this one is so beautiful and virtuosic at every level. Okay, so when they cross the threshold, they grab the balloons, they fly away, they land in the bayou. Like once you get into the bayou itself, now you're in this new magical land where the animals talk. There's some kind of witch that lives out there that does sorcery, right? And so the first threshold guardian that they sort of win over is Lewis. And he's won over by Naveen's music. So that's the first time that we see Naveen's faults as having virtue in them, other than him being charming, and we like it. He's likable. But when we go like there's a little.
The trumpet playing crocodile wants to jam with him. They want to.
The ukulele saved their lives.
Yeah.
And so, and then made them an ally, which is going to propel them through the bayou. So, kind of cool the way they did that. Let's see, or look at my notes.
Is it right after that they meet Ray?
Shortly thereafter, So he says, "I'll take you to Mama Odie," and they have that "When I'm Human" song. And we see all of them are.
Oh yeah, so Lewis says, "I'll take you to Madame Odie." He doesn't know where Madame Odie is because he's kind of a doofus. But he directionally knows kind of the right place to go, but he doesn't really have the wisdom or the knowledge until we meet, Ray the Bug.
And so Well, so they do the When I'm Human song, and so what's interesting is they all want something that, like, they all want the thing that they have been going about trying to get.
Yeah.
And they want to try to get it in the way that they have been going about trying to get it.
Yes. Yeah.
And so they're all going like, when I just get back to the way I was doing things before, I'll actually get the thing that I didn't have.
When I can get back on the track I was on and just pedal to the metal, when I can get back and work hard and earn more money and get the restaurant that I want, when I can get back to my life and partying and girls every night and all that, then I'll be set, right?
Yeah. And we know, the like idiom of the insanity, the definition of insanity is doing things the same way
over and over again,
expecting different results. And so this song is just them saying, like, to be human means I get to go back and somehow reality will just change around me and give me what I wanted.
Yeah.
And which we know is a failing strategy, but it's a strategy that we all fall into. Like,
totally.
It's the world's fault that I don't have what I want.
Yeah.
And I need a magic spell, or I need everyone to change so that I can get what I want.
Yeah. I keep coming back to Tiana's character and her, like, her arc of all that. There's a line she has where she says she's regretting wishing on a star because I've learned that, like, my hard work is all I can depend on. Because her thing is she's worshiping her self-reliance, her ability to push forward and get it done is what she depends on more than anything. And the idea that she would need to look to something beyond herself was like, it was stupid. I shouldn't have done that. But that's ultimately what she's learning. And she expresses that in this song.
And so what she's trying to do is she's trying to establish her father's dream, like live into her father's vision. And she's trying to do it through works. Right. And then Naveen has kicked off pretty much this whole conflict because he wants what he wants, but he wants it for free.
Right.
And so she is making a deal with sort of like I don't know, we could say like with Mammon, or with like this idea that I'm going to like work and slave and get money and I'll get that for free. And then he makes his Faustian bargain, which is like, I'm going to get, or she's going to get it through labor and hard work. He's going to get it for free. And so he makes a deal with Facilier, and Doctor, who's one of my favorite villains. With one of my
he's so great. Well, and he's such a good counter to his songs are awesome. But he's such a good counter to a character like Tiana, because it's all like making a deal with the devil, making a deal with the dark side, cutting corners. I can give you just what you want, and we'll cut some corners in order to get there. And in that he will trap you. Yeah, the one cool thing I noticed was, so Naveen, when he looks to get what he wants, he goes to Facilier, he goes to the devil to make a deal to cut corners, because his vice is party, is not working hard, whereas Tiana is the opposite of that, where she's looking aspirational, she looks beyond, she's looking up, Navier's looking down.
Yeah. And Facilier means roughly like to get things done, to like make things happen.
Facile is easy in French. Yeah.
And facilitate is so he's going to facilitate what you want, and he'll grease the wheels. And what's interesting, I think he kind of represents the worst of both our main characters. He's a businessman, he makes deals, he does hard work and gets stuff done.
Yep.
And he's a performer, and he likes to get stuff easy, right? So he's got a little bit of the bad of both characters, but so he's going to facilitate their dreams coming true.
That's good.
So she's focusing on works, he's focusing on the easiest path, like the path of least resistance. And they need to kind of come together, and so they don't start coming together. So as they're singing their song, and I would love to hear Brett Bowles' take on all this music and stuff. But there's this great art note as they're singing. They're finishing When I'm Human, and Tiana sings, I'll take my place in the sun.
I want to do my best. I want to try my best.
And so we know after this rousing chorus that you're passing a shot, you're not gonna take your place in the sun.
Sure.
Which is a little bit like how Hakuna Matata and Let It Go are the songs about what's wrong with the character. What's great with the character.
Right.
So the same with this one is they're so concerned about when I am here, then I'll have what I need.
I mean, Disney, especially in this era, was so good at just the song that's so catchy that as an audience, you love it. And it's the opposite message of what the movie's about.
Yeah.
I think that it encapsulates just how much of a draw we have towards just like, stick to the same thing you always want to do. Like, and it's fun and it's raucous and we're partying and it's one of the coolest tunes in the whole thing. It's very memorable. And certainly like the party New Orleans atmosphere. And there's a lot of songs in this movie that encapsulate that, but this is certainly one of them. And it's not at all the message that our characters are learning.
We'll take a little break from The Princess and the Frog to remind you to like, subscribe, comment, leave a review, and tell somebody if you enjoyed this or if it made you think. Or if it made you disagree like crazy, then get into a conversation. Talk about story. And now back to StoryDads.
Learning.
And what's great about all those songs really is they draw me into the experience of the characters so that I'm in absolute sympathy with them. And in the moment, nobody sits there and listens to Hakuna Matata and goes,
you kind of got to take responsibility, man. Yeah.
Like nobody just let it go and doesn't get into it and want to croon along with it. You know, it's like, no, I'm with you. And then so when the characters learn their lesson, I get
taking you emotionally on that character's journey because it encapsulates, it puts you in like, just relax, man. Like you've been running, like you have all the reason in the world to be able to just like Hakuna Matata, put your feet up, have a beer, relax and just chill for a bit. And but then ultimately when Simba realizes like you can't live there, you can't be running from these things, when Nala comes back and shames him and says like, what the hell have you been doing out here, you kind of feel convicted as the audience. You're like,
you're like,
I can't. And that does kind of stink.
I was singing Hakuna Matata too. Yeah, I was eating bugs, smoking weed with my boys. Okay, so they finish this.
Yeah,
we have that really fun thing where they start becoming frogs and like living into it.
Yeah,
and it's interestingly, it's like the first time that they actually kind of go like, oh, maybe I could be a frog. This is like something come together.
Yeah,
and then we get to meet Raymond, and Raymond is the best, and so what he brings light and he unties knots. So those are the first two things we learn.
First two things he does, right?
And he introduces them to Evangeline.
Yep.
And of course that her name is like Evangelize, right? So he's introducing them to the person that's behind the star that you pray to.
Yeah.
That you like bring your vision to, that you petition, right? So it has a name and it just happens to be Evangelize, right?
Right.
And he has a relationship with it.
Yeah.
And so he in this, and everyone else thinks you're ridiculous for having a relationship with this thing, right? So I think everyone can see the symbolism here.
Right.
Is like heavy with Raymond.
Yeah.
And he can take out the darkness. Like he strikes the darkness, no problem.
Yeah.
Doesn't even take an effort. He just whacks these demons without.
Yeah. And
I think like that's how powerful he is.
I think there's something too about him being a bug. He's the smallest character in the thing, this still small voice idea that kind of whispers like, you know, the direction you need to go. And you know, this partying music playing crocodile doesn't know where Matamodi is. Like, like
he's a white trash chimney cricket. And,
exactly.
Right. And which like is worth mentioning, and I don't know if Disney got rid of these or not. I haven't checked lately, but like the trigger warnings they used to have at the beginning of you know, all of your favorite classic films. The "You're a Bad Person" banner. What's funny is this movie doesn't have one.
No.
And I gotta say that these like Creole, like these guys that live in the bayou, it's like the most offensive thing you've ever seen. Like the one dude's inbred and has two fingers. Like that. I mean, if
you're gonna lean into stereotypes, they lean in hard on that one, right?
This is so insanely stereotypical.
Yeah.
And guess what? It's hilarious.
It's great.
They're great. And because that's what cartoons are, right?
And the characters are endearing and lovable. I mean, Jim Cummings, all-time voice actor as Raymond, is so good. And like
Raymond and the guys hunting frogs are like the most offensive portrayal of Southern like you can even imagine.
Dopey Southern,
and they're phenomenal. and great. Raymond saves the day, right? And he's great.
Yeah, right. So he shows them the actual way as they go to Madame Odie.
Yeah.
And I thought about it. So Madame Odie, what's Madame Odie?
Well, before we get to Madame Odie, I think there's something worthwhile mentioning about their characters, because this is ultimately a love story, and it's ultimately like Tangled, like Aladdin. You know, they do a really good job in the in the 90s and onward of taking sort of like a pair of
co-main characters,
and developing them together so they kind of mutually sacrifice. They do a really good job of creating like a binary hero's journey. So these characters, they have their fight where he calls her a killjoy and she calls him a philanderer. And what's awesome is they're both correct.
Yeah.
And by their collision, by receiving this really harsh feedback, it actually unlocks for them the ability to be something better. And so he goes, oh my God, I am a philanderer. I was just singing about it a minute ago, like, brunettes and redheads and blondes. And then she's like, oh, I am a killjoy. I was just singing about like, here I am having a party with a singing crocodile, and all I can think about is doing chores. Yeah. So they go, oh, wow, maybe I'm not all I could be. Maybe I.
Yeah. And I think when you get those the crossing character arcs, she's got to learn to relax a little bit, and he's got to learn to grow up a little bit.
Yeah. And they both have some kind of death to self that they need to recognize. And so then we meet Madame Odie,
which is kind of what that scene is this like, I don't know, priestly figure calling out like, yes, like you do need to relax a little bit. He does need to come up a little bit, and it is I don't know. I haven't quite put my finger on her character yet, but there's something about her that's calling that out.
On Odie.
Yeah.
And she's blind because prophets and seers are always blind. Like that goes back to the the oldest Greek tragedies and everything.
Yeah.
And she messes with him. So like that's another problem for Tiana. She's fun. Like she screws around and messes with people and doesn't give you the answers. And like she leads you to the answers, but then won't give them to you. And so Tiana gets a vision of her father. Again, the father, right? So Tiana looks and sees a vision of her father and misinterprets what he wants. Because every time she looks at her father, she goes, he would want me to nose to the grindstone, bust out and grind this thing out to make him happy.
Yeah.
And keeps missing the fact.
She's idolizing the restaurant that her father wanted her to get. And that becomes the whole purpose, losing sight of what it's all for.
Right. She keeps missing the fact that all he really valued, not all he really, but that his prime value was relationship.
Well, the whole purpose of his culinary skills and why he wanted to start a restaurant in the first place was bringing family and people together.
Right. And what is Greek for gathering? It's ekklesia, which is the word that we use that became church. Right. So the ultimate wish of the father is to use your gifts to bring people into relationship, to have love, an abundance of love, and to have a gathering, right?
Yeah.
So, and she misinterprets it as labor, works.
Yep.
So off they go into the latter part of the second act. We're headed towards the third act.
Well, because the second act ends with, what is Madame Odie charges them with, like, why is it they go back to New Orleans?
Well, they go back because they refuse to listen to her. Right?
Yeah.
Because she's trying to demonstrate in the song, like, what you need is actually right here. Like, What you
embrace the moment, embrace the relationships, embrace the people that are here. And Tiana has to go learn the hard way that, like, no, I gotta be ambitious to make the thing happen.
Yeah. So he starts to, Naveen starts to get a glimpse of like, oh, what I really want is right here.
Yeah.
And she doesn't pick up on it, right? So all the animals go, oh, and they roll their eyes and they're like, okay, well, how do they get what they want? Because she says what you want isn't necessarily.
We got to go back. My friend's got to kiss you because she's the princess of the thing. So let's go make that happen.
So she goes, here's the solution to get it your way.
Yeah.
And which is great because that's also, I mean, that's like God says that to us as well. He's like, you could want this thing.
Sure.
You can do it my way, and it's pretty good. Or like, no, I'll have it my way. And he goes, okay.
Yeah, I mean, to fast forward to the end, it's ultimately them realizing, like, you marry Tiana, who you already like anyway. She becomes a princess. You get the thing you want. But instead, like, no, you got to find someone who's the princess of the parade. Because, like, we're going to do that. Like, you could feel like that's kind of a stretch. That doesn't really make sense. But okay, right? And you kind of get wrapped up in the character's ambition of, like, we got to get that job done.
Yeah, and so their dedication to having it my own way will wind up costing Raymond his life. Right. So had they stayed with Madame Odie and said, we like. And she even at the end, she conducts the ceremony. Like she is she's vested with the powers to marry them on the spot. And so part of it is Naveen doesn't have the courage to ask.
Yeah.
And Tiana doesn't have the awareness to respond. Yeah. So they both are stuck going on. So he's not yet ready to grow up and become a man and ask this woman to marry her. And she's not yet ready to, let's say, release her grasp on control.
Yeah, and allow her, because so much of her, embrace being a wife, allow herself to be the object of affection, allow herself to be loved and adored, because she's got to work for all of it, right? And can she let her guard down enough to just be the beloved, be the one who's cared for?
And it doesn't take any work to be that.
But she doesn't know how to not do that.
Right. And she doesn't know how to value something that is hers just because it's hers.
Right.
So they go back. He kind of tries to propose. So, in the dramatic structure like this, the characters have to learn their lessons a couple of times, and they have to make the choice to like pursue the proper thing, and then they have to make the choice again when it will cost them everything. So we're gonna see that a couple times here.
Yeah.
And so they kind of just barely miss each other in terms of the proposal. And he much again like Wally,
very kind of romantic comedy structure around characters, love interest,
very Shakespearean,
missing each other. Almost.
Yeah. And so they miss each other. And so in his attempt to give her what he thinks she wants, he's like, all right, you don't want me. You just want, like, I'm going to give up everything I want.
Right.
Which is the thing he has to really learn first. I'm going to give up everything I want in order to do something for someone else at all. Because he's been selfish his whole life. Right.
Yeah.
And so he's going to go do that. And unknowingly, by doing that, he is like taking away what she has now realized she actually wants, which is, that perfect, Shakespearean, mismatch.
Right.
And so, I don't know how much to belabor this, no small coincidence that the crux of the thing happens at a church and at a graveyard, I think.
Yeah.
And, So Raymond winds up giving his life.
Yeah.
He demonstrates his faith and his devotion to Evangeline.
Yeah.
And to these principles that Evangeline represents, right? Because both Naveen and Tiana like confess to this star.
Yeah.
And they confess and they pledge like they're, essentially like a repentance. They're going to change their ways. They're going to move towards something new and different.
Yeah.
And Raymond is sort of the avatar of this, this thing.
Yeah.
He gives his life and helps like break through the sort of moral block that they have to become what they need to become. And so
and he demonstrates the sacrifice, and upon seeing that, like, man, if they thought Evangeline was just a nice idea or something, they've seen it in action now, and it becomes real for them, and they are following that going forward.
And like, and dude, the death of Raymond is got to be up there with like the death of Mufasa. In terms of Disney just going hard. Like, like, just twist the knife.
Painful as I'm dying, and we have to say this long, drawn out, painful goodbye.
And so, he demonstrates his faith in devotion, and then he resurrects.
Yeah,
right. So he gets to go be with, again, the star that hears her prayers, grants her wishes. Like, so he's
and him becoming a star himself, him becoming this immortalized, like all the faith and the wisdom and all that Raymond represents is now like becomes real for them, and it's this kind of reminder that they carry with them, even if the person is no longer there.
Right, and it becomes an immortal ideal.
Yeah,
that you can always look to remind you. Right.
Right.
And so then And sorry, I feel like I've just been on almost a continuous monologue.
I'm on the ride with you, man. This is amazing. Keep going.
So
yeah.
And this is we're doing Princess Month, right, for February.
Yeah.
So like the significance of the princess. So they finally they have each learned their lesson. She gets tempted by Facilier.
Yep.
In the same way, it almost reminds me of like The Last Temptation of Christ, the movie, where it's like, here's what your wonderful life could be like if you just get off this cross, if you would just stop trying to sacrifice yourself for this ideal. And she says no. She passes like the ultimate temptation and chooses in that moment, chooses Naveen ultimately.
Right.
And not like just because she's like, no, I'm going to go back to my work. Like, I'll get this dream on my own. She goes, that's not even the dream. I just want Naveen. And so like they both learned their lesson, right?
Well, she puts the things in the right order because the dream of the restaurant without the people in it, without the relationships that it's for, is a useless dream. It's if I have to sacrifice the relationships in order to get the thing, I don't want the thing because it's hollow, it's useless, and she sees that, which is that's what Facilier is offering her, is like, you can skip right to the end and get all the things, right? But like strip out everything else.
Yeah.
And it's in putting the things in the proper order that like she's ultimately able to get it at the end.
Yeah, and the dream wasn't bad. Like there's nothing wrong with the dream. It just wasn't big enough, right? And so through this process and this adventure, she's learned, frankly, to dream bigger. By releasing the dream, she has learned to dream something even bigger and better.
Yeah.
And which is, again, it comes back to that. If you want to gain your life, you must lose it, right? This idea, and like Cars does that really well too, is like, if you want to go to the left, you got to turn your wheels to the right. Doesn't make sense, but that's kind of just how it works.
Yep.
And so they both go, you know what, we're just giving up on everything. And we're just gonna
they accept being frogs. Well, they accept being frogs. I've been a frog and so bad we have each other. That's great, right? And it's at that moment of acceptance of that they embrace being with each other, that they all the things start falling into place that they wanted.
Right. And so you talked earlier, you mentioned like the deal and how it works. Like, oh, suddenly she's a princess, so now the magic resolves, right? And so like the deep magic, which is like the Narnian, like when the forces that underpin our reality come into resolution, something divine happens. Yeah. And so like, what is it about princesses? It's Princess Month. Like, what is it about princesses? So what it is about princesses is that in the order of Adam and Eve, whether they're real or they're metaphorical or whatever, but like this world that is human domain, all men and women are princes and princesses when we step into our place of stewardship and authority. Right? And so a wedding is, and we now have a new Adam, since 2,000 years ago, and humanity as a whole, all of us, are the new Eve. Yeah. And so when we step into this integrated relationship, and a lesser picture of that is a man and a woman coming together, which is why in the wedding ceremonies, we dress up as princes and princesses. Yeah. Because just like children dress up to try to learn to become what they need to become, we're doing the same thing. Yeah. Yeah. And so we dress up as what our true role is, which is to step into the growth and undertaking of this mantle. And so when Naveen and Tiana do this, what do? They go back to the sugar mill. Yeah. They go back to Eden, right? They go back into the world, the created order. Yeah. They don't make it a sugar mill again. Yeah. Right? So it's not, we don't get back to Eden.
It doesn't get restored to the thing it once was. It gets transformed for a new higher purpose.
Right. And so they rebuild it. They make it beautiful. They put their names on it, right? It's Tiana's, like it has. Yeah. Right? They fill it with people. They fill it with light and music. Yeah. They have kings and queens that are sitting down with peasants.
They have a place for all the kings and queens and everyone in the kingdom. The crocodile who was rejected of playing music, he is a perfect place for him in this kingdom.
Yeah. the animals return to their place of relationship with humanity. I mean, it's like it's Eden. Like, you know, Tiana's place is like a restored new earth, just like at the end of like the Book of Revelations, right? So it's like it's all there. It's all encapsulated. And and so on some level, that's why these princess movies, like, it gets mistaken by the cynical for, oh, the princess is an emblem of power and authority.
Yeah.
Like, it's a status thing. And it's like, no, it's not a status thing. It's a calling. And it's an identity, which this movie talks so much about. Like, when you know who you are, you'll know what you need. And so when they realize, like, hey, I'm just, out of all the world, I'm Tiana and I'm Naveen.
Yeah.
And then when we come together, what we are is princes and princesses, whether we like it or not.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's why you come away from a movie like this, and, you know, maybe it's not this big emotional thing, but you feel inspired. You feel like, all right, I want to aspire to something more in my relationships and in my work. And it's like there's such a positive, like, invigoration that comes from a story like this, that I think if you just have the cynical, like, status symbol take, it's well, it's the opposite reaction. It's disheartening. You feel disillusioned afterwards. But man, I again, especially like this era, like the way they came about it is so, like, all the magic that it captures in that. You know, I even thought too, like, we talked in our Little Mermaid episode about just the way Disney had, like, the depiction and animation of romance of these two characters, and, you know, the beauty of the thicket scene in that one. They recreate a lot of that magic as, like, they're doing the falling in love song. The animals are singing to them. They're knocking off each other's, like, rough edges, and, like, you see the archetypal man and woman coming together, and there's some frogs in this, so it's got this kind of playful thing, but it's, like, so good.
Yeah, it is truly magical. And then you know, villain comeuppance.
Villain comeuppance, Facilier. So what's interesting is it kind of shows his character as, like, it's almost like he's trying to outwork his deal with the devil he made a long time ago.
Right.
And his eventually, like, the Pied Piper, there's a cost to pay. Like, you gotta recognize what do they say? Like, it's time to collect on the debt. That's got that feel to it.
Yeah. And he gets, like, exactly what he bargained for. And, you know, the other thing that I forgot to mention about Facilier's character, and about really, and the what's his name, the butler, he or the, you know, I think the groom, whatever he was for Naveen, is that their outlook on life is like a zero-sum outlook. Where in order for the butler to get ahead, Naveen's got to come down. And then you contrast that to Tiana at the banquet, when she's having her dreams crushed in real time in front of her. And she's watching her friend, who's like this wealthy princess that has everything she wants just thrown at her. And she's not resentful of her friend. She still wants the best for her. And she's not going like, well, I need her to have less so I can have more.
There was a very different story they could have told between those two characters that you feel like, you know, in 2025, that's the way they choose to go with those characters. And man, it's so much better when, like, she chooses not to be resentful, and they each have their past. And like, it turns out better for Tiana in the end, because the virtue matters more than having the stuff, having grown up with everything. But it like, they're not in competition with each other.
And so Facilier's world, where it's zero sum, just like real zero sum thinking and zero sum policies and zero sum you know, economic systems, like, it ends in just nothing. It ends in collapse and self being consumed by the self. And so that's how he goes. And it's super satisfying to see it, because nobody inflicts it on him.
It's a legit scary scene too. Like, it's the voodoo demons decide, like, it's time to collect on the debt, and all the stuff he's running from, and the ways he's been trying to trick people, and all that, like, it's catches up, and he gets a kind of horror movie scene, like Drag Me to Hell kind of sequence of, like, him getting pulled into all that while all the demons are playing the drums, and, like, real spooky kind of horror elements there, which is it fits for his character too. He's one of the best villains.
Oh yeah, he's fantastic. And so, man, that's it. Man. That's Princess and the Frog. Dude. Like,
I enjoyed being on this ride with you, man. Like, that all the like fairy tale elements, the archetypal nature of all this in the kingdom of New Orleans. Like it's cool. And I think it's when it's so specific in that way, it's easy to see this as the New Orleans story, but like you walked us through, you pan out from this and you start seeing like it's telling this archetypal fairy tale story in this New Orleans setting with these specific characters, again, going from like big picture archetype to specificity. You walked us through that perfectly.
Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah. It's just such a beautiful movie. And if you've been sleeping on it, if you because whatever, I mean, sometimes it just kind of falls through the cracks, I guess. Like it isn't, one of the great sort of, it doesn't have like the main character's name in it, like, it's easy to remember Cinderella and Aladdin. It's got the name. But if you haven't watched Princess and the Frog in a while, or if you've never seen it, like, do yourself a treat, set it up for your kids. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's fun. And like, your kids are going to love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Music is excellent. Character or voice performances are awesome. Like, just beautifully crafted. Great movie. So yeah, thanks for being with us, everyone. And we'll see you back next week. I think we're still kind of going back and forth on schedule on what it's going to be. It's either going to be Tangled or Robin Hood. So stay tuned to figure out what that's going to be.
It'll be a surprise.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everyone. We'll catch you next time.
I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're still hanging with us, please do remember to like, subscribe, share this, and more than anything, just watch a great movie with your friends or your family, and then talk about it. Just talk about what you saw, what you noticed, what it made you think about. These stories are beautiful. Life is beautiful. So get out there and enjoy. We'll see you next time.